Every time you open your closet may be costing you your next sale or sales. Your fear of speaking that's rooted in your personal image is costing you sales. And that's why today on Make a Click, I'm so happy to have with me image consultant Scarlett De Bease. Welcome to Make It Click, Scarlett.
Thank you. I'm here to help you make it click.
Oh, there's so many different directions we can go on this, but Scarlett, I'd like to first get your feeling. Now, I know I probably know the answer to this, but when somebody's working in their business and they're learning, what they need to do, their marketing, their sales, they got to do the website. Oh, I have to get my social media. Where does someone's image do you find ranks in importance when people are thinking about all those things they need to be doing in their business?
A lot higher than they have it, I can tell you that. So what happens is, we think, okay, we'll get the business card and we'll get the logo and we'll get the colors and and we'll do all these things to make us look good on print or on screen with our visuals, but we don't realize that we are the business. And like I just spoke yesterday to someone who heard me speak, and she said that she realized that she wasn't looking like this person that she is selling herself to be. She wasn't dressing that way because she was so focused on all the other stuff that she kind of forgot that she is the business. When somebody is asked to speak, or somebody's looking to have a new client, or networking, whether it's on Zoom or in person, if you don't look like you really are good at what you're doing, if you don't feel really good in what you're wearing, you're not good. People can smell that and can taste that, and they know that you're insecure. And if you feel insecure or less than, then that's going to make you look a little bit less desirable to work with, because there's somebody else out there that has more confidence than you have. And people need to see confidence because they want to make sure that you can solve their problems too.
So feeling confident in our appearance, I think that's only half of the image. The other side of that though is, I mean, yeah, I'm thinking that I can feel very confident in how I'm presenting myself, how I look and everything. But what about how I'm being accepted by my audience? Just because I'm feeling confident, does that mean I'm doing well? Or do we need to look at the whole picture when we're looking at our image?
Well, you can feel confident and have something really wacky on too, but odds are it's not nothing to do with your business. I mean, there has to be some sort of connection to what you do and what you wear. So if you work with in the creative field, then your outfit should show some creativity. If you work in a more buttoned up kind of industry, perhaps like, being a lawyer, then there is more of a structure to your outfit. But when I talk about confidence, I'm talking about how your clothing makes you feel. And if you are wearing clothes that somebody else might consider kind of wacky, but you're really feeling good about it, then it's okay. Then you own it. That's okay. That's fine. That's part of your personality. That's part of your brand, so to speak.
Mm.
I don't have any problem with people dressing very differently. I actually like it. But it's the people who are wearing clothes that don't fit quite the same because they're not quite the same that they used to be,
Mm.
or people who just can't seem to find anything that's like maybe even age appropriate, which is really hard for women these days. If you're over 40, it's hard.
Mm.
Stores are not making it easy for you. So when you're not feeling really good about yourself, that's the what I'm talking about, where people like, there's something off here. Or if you're wearing clothes that make you like disappear in a room, that's not helpful in terms of networking and being seen, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, very, very, very good point. Well, now so we're online at the moment, but there's also offline being seen and whatnot. Is there a difference in how someone should be dressing online versus I mean, like cameras, every camera is different and colors show up differently. And, so that's, I think, probably the hardest one. In person, yeah, we see you for who you are.
Mhm.
But can you speak to that of offline versus online?
Well, the offline, a lot of people are beginning to freak out because they're excited to get out there again, but it's like the thought of having to dress from the waist down too is a big shocker. And a lot of women are not willing to put on those shoes anymore that they wore, 3, 4 years ago that hurt them.
Mhm.
So there is an adjustment to be made with how you dress now, head to toe. And I applaud the fact that we should be comfortable, but I always say not look comfortable. But when it comes to how you're seen on camera and off camera, my tips that when I work with somebody are pretty much the same. I always start with what colors are you wearing, the ones near your face. And you want to wear colors that are going to make your skin tone look healthy, your hair and your teeth look like a natural color, not yellowish or gray or red, so whether that you're in person or on camera, those colors are really important. And when you're aware of that, you stop wearing things that make you look sick. People start to wonder if you're okay. So that works on camera or in person. The big thing about on camera is that you really need to be careful. This is not really my thing, but I did a lot of advice on this in the beginning of the pandemic. Be careful of what's around you when you're on
Mhm.
camera. You
Mhm.
don't want any distractions. So and I have to say that people on camera many times have made less of an effort than they do when they walk into a room. Like it's okay to get dressed up a little bit when you're working on Zoom. It's okay to maybe even brush your hair. you
Yes, yes.
know?
Oh, yeah, how many times being on Zoom meetings and you look at around the room and yeah, I'm amazed too at how people are showing up
Like
online.
don't wear a sweatshirt. Just don't do it. Just
Yeah.
don't do it. Not on camera. Because if you're there, networking and you say, well, I'm a leadership coach. You got to wear something that shows that you are a successful leadership coach, even if you're just starting out. You
Mhm.
know? So it's always making an effort. And frankly, now the whole head to toe thing, it's a lot of fun to get out there again. There's a lot of yeses to events. People are really going out more than they have before because we need it.
Mhm.
But it's really important to be dressing in clothes from head to toe that reflect your success, that reflect your talents,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
really make you feel good about yourself.
But, I've found myself, even online, I've had days over these last few years that I get up in the morning, I dress. I don't put the yoga pants on, I dre and, it could be a dress, and it just changes how I
Absolutely.
feel.
Absolutely.
And
It
if
totally
people
changes.
would realize that,
Yeah.
online,
Right.
I think there'd be so much more success.
Absolutely. You have to decide, do you have a business or do you have a hobby?
Yeah.
And if you have a hobby, you can walk around in your PJ bottoms, but you're never going to have the same mindset if you're wearing, PJs on the bottom and a buttoned blouse on top with your earrings. It's not there's something wrong. In the beginning of the pandemic, once the initial shock wore off, I was wearing shoes in the house.
Mhm.
So, drove my husband crazy with my banging on the wooden floors. But I mean, I was serious. I'm back at work, you
Mhm.
know? And when we pay attention to those things like you did, it really makes a difference in how we conduct our day, really how well we do,
Mhm.
frankly, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. When it comes to speaking, what is your philosophy on patterns versus solids? I've received differing opinions on this, and it's like, how do you make that decision when you are and even online, you probably see the patterns more so than if you're up on a stage.
Mhm.
What are we supposed to do when we're speaking when it comes to choosing a pattern or a solid?
It's such a everything that I do is very uniquely individual. So there's no generalized tips, but, a
Thank
pattern.
you for that. Thank you, I appreciate that.
I don't like, all these things you can see now on Instagram and Reels and all that, where they give you these tips for you, and they're not for you because you're not that person. You're not as tall, you're not as thin, you're not the same age, you're not the same personality, you don't have the same body proportions. So all that stuff is wackadoo stuff. It's entertaining, but if it worked, well, everybody would be like so happy and dressed so, so confidently. A pattern is great for a person depending upon their size, the size of the pattern. If someone's a very petite person, then you really want to have smaller patterns. If somebody is a larger person, you can have bigger patterns. You can have patterns. I help people find patterns that work with the texture of their hair. I know it sounds
Mm.
weird, but it really is cool and it works. I think that a pattern properly placed can be a nice addition to an outfit. A pattern that can be improperly placed, meaning giant flowers on the chest, or there used to be animals and the eyes were right there, like these little things you got to look for. An improperly placed pattern can cause a lot of trouble. So
Mm.
I, but I do happen to like patterns in tops, and then use, pants solids, and maybe a topper or a jacket as a solid. I think that's always fun. You can even do pattern in shoes. It's good to add a little personality. It's good
Mm.
to add a little creativity. It's not so great if you're going to be going up in front of other people to wear the traditional black suit and the white blouse and look like everybody else.
Yeah.
So I do add a little color. I do add some fun accessories. I do add a little bit of a pattern, but it really depends upon each person. There's no
Mm.
general tips are terrible.
Talking about black, again, this is something, that I heard a couple years ago from somebody, "Oh, women should not be wearing black." Well, we all do. And I felt
Yeah.
like saying, "Get over it." What how do you feel about black, and maybe it's like how much,
It depends upon the person. Like, some women are stunning in black. For a lot of other women, it can make them look like they have under eye shadows, even if they don't have any. For a
Mm.
lot of other women, it can make them just look like they're disappearing in the room. So a color would be much better. Like someone like you really looks beautiful in certain colors. So black should not be the predominant color when you're putting something on.
Mhm.
But the thing about black, and I have a good amount of it. It works for me. But the thing about black is that when you go into a room and you're wearing black, odds are 50%, if not more, of the other women in the room are wearing black too. Why do you want to be like them?
Mm.
Why not wear a color that brings out your hair color, your eye color, and wear a color that makes you stand out a little bit? People will go and talk to you much more when you're wearing something that's interesting and that you feel good in, as opposed to just look like you're in mourning like everybody else.
Yes, yes, so true, so true. Now, Scarlett, one of the areas that you help women in is to really look through their closet and figure out what they already have that can work for them. What if what if somebody says, "Oh, Scarlett, I don't have anything." It's like, oh, it's just not happening. It's like, what do you say to that?
Well, it's interesting. I believe in having fewer clothes than you already have now. And when I work with somebody, they have fewer clothes than they had before they work with me, but they have more outfits than they had before. So there are tons of outfits in everybody's closet, but they don't know it because when they bought something, they bought it to wear a certain way, or they decided to wear it a certain way. And that's the only way they see it, like tunnel vision. And what I do is I show people how to take what they have and combine them in new ways to make new outfits.
Mm.
Maybe it's adding different shoes, maybe it's adding a different top or a different jacket, but there's tons of different variations. Like I always say, I make new puzzles with the pieces that people have in their closet. It's totally possible. But I was laughing because I was speaking to a woman yesterday who's was talking to me about her wardrobe, and she told me a story that I asked permission to use. And she said that she no longer works in corporate, so she had consigned all of her lovely, lovely business clothes. And months later, she went into a consignment shop and she saw all these really beautiful clothes that she loved at bargain prices. And she grabbed a few pieces and she brought them to the register. And the woman who owns the store said to her, "These are the clothes you brought in."
Oh, no.
And I'm like, can I use this story, please? That shows, she was telling me, because she follows, my newsletter and stuff. She said to me, that shows how when you say that we buy what we already have is incredibly true.
Mm.
She literally almost bought back many of her own pieces because they were such a good deal and they fit and they looked exactly like what she already had. So it's very common for people to buy what they already have. And that's the habit I help you break out of.
Yeah, I have to say I don't do a lot of clothes shopping. I'm not a big shopper, but over the weekend, I had to go out. I needed something because 'cause I'm going to a conference next week, and, I looked at this after I found something I wanted, I'm like, "Oh, what else is here?" and everything, and I said, "Oh, I found these nice tops and everything." I'm like and I said to myself, "Well, I have this style in this color and this maybe I should get another color." And then I thought about it for a few seconds, I said, "No, no, 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 I need a different style." I was like,
Yes.
I
Yes.
realized this was a mistake.
Yeah, you pulled your hand away. I talk about that, pull your hand away. We're magnetized to what we know and what we have. And good for you because you don't need more of the same. You're not going to get more outfits that way. And then what happens if one day what you have much of doesn't work anymore?
Mhm.
Maybe like sometimes I mean I have clients who buy something in every single color, but when I point out to them that the proportions of that particular piece of clothing isn't good for them, now they have multiples of the wrong thing.
Mm.
So it's really good to step out of your comfort zone and try some new things. Always works much better.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah. So, well, we could go on, Scarlett, but do you have something you would like to offer our listeners, some way for them to stay in touch with you and learn some more?
Yes, so I have a freebie of where I put videos together where I help you end your closet shame, meaning I help you end up the bad relationships with the things that you have in your closet. So it's basically a great way for you to follow very short tips on how to go into your closet, look at what you have, and easily pick out what you're really never going to wear again. And so that when you have less in your closet, you can see what you have, you can make more outfits, and you can actually feel better when you open up the door or the drawers and you look inside. Because when it's overstuffed and filled with things that aren't quite right for you anymore, it can bring you down. And I think when you walk in your closet, it should be a good thing. No matter what size
Mm.
your closet is, it should have only the right clothes in there. So this guide is really, really helpful for that.
And they can get that at scarlettimage.com/ end your closet shame.
Yes.
This has been wonderful, Scarlett. I do have one final question for you, and that is more about your business. And when you think back to all the years that you've been helping people with their image and building your business, is there something that comes to mind that you say, "Oh my goodness, this when I learned this, this really made it click for my business." Or when I started using a certain tool or something. What comes to mind for you that you can say, this is what really changed it for me?
Speaking. Speaking was a big thing for my business. I enjoy speaking. I'm not afraid of it, so there is that advantage to it. But when I was able to get in front of other people and talk about image and clothes and share tips in a way that also enticed people to want to talk to me, that was very, very helpful. And I also learned how to be an entertaining speaker, not a boring speaker, and that's important too. You gotta entertain these people.
That's wonderful, Scarlett. Thank you so much for joining me today on Make It Click.
Thank you.